Ooh, what's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 59 of the Stand Up Guys podcast. I'm your host, the incomparable Zach Jones, joined as always by the Adam Cartwright to my little Joe Cartwright, Lester Jones.
That's me.
Who are these people?
It's the brothers from Bonanza.
Okay.
I actually like this lineup better because that means Crystal would be Haas.
It's messed up.
And of course, we got the ninth wonder, Chocolate Thunder, dropping fitties and grabbing titties, the nip flicking, deep dicking, swimming in boobies like Scrooge McDuck and rubies, the phenomenal A.J. Singh.
Hello, everyone. I never know how to respond to that.
Man, I just ate and I can tell I'm beet red.
Now you get the ticking clock element of if you can get through here without rancid diarrhea.
Yeah. Well, I did fast for a day that I usually when I eat, I do just blow my guts all over the place.
Well, that ought to be interesting.
Clock is ticking, folks.
Let's see what happens.
All righty. What'd you guys do this week? Anything fun? Anything good? Well, let me say off the bat, because I always forget this. One thing we did do is watch the cinematic new classic. We'll get to Shang Chi, I guess is how it's pronounced. Yeah. And so we will be doing a review of that here in a bit. But guys, what else did you do this week, or what did you watch?
Man, I've been door dashing.
Just door dashing.
I did get into a Cosmonaut Variety Hour. It's a YouTube channel.
What the fuck is that?
It's just this guy who reviews movies. He's kind of into some nerdy stuff, and he's funny. He breaks down the trilogy of Sam Raimi's original Spider-Man, and he goes through how they're all so corny and campy, but they're also likable. But there's so many nuanced breakdowns of it.
Is he Russian?
No, he's actually American. He's black.
Just random name.
Yeah.
Cosmonaut. Okay.
Yeah, but he's very popular. There are channels where people talk about his channel. It's crazy.
It is. It's just people watching people watching people.
We should do that. We should just start reviewing other people's YouTube channels.
Well, that one's already got too deep. Maybe we should do his. See how many you get. How meta can you get on those?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Start reviewing the reviewers.
Yeah.
This guy's review of the Cosmonaut Hour really sucked.
Johnny Carson's take on PewDiePie. Rubbish.
This is the inception of reviews, a review within a review. See how many layers deep we can go. What about you? You been watching anything?
The biggest thing I think I watched was that movie with you guys. Had my son's birthday party this weekend, so that was fun. Little go-karts, mini golf, and a few things.
Oh, yeah. I kind of forgot when you did that.
It felt long ago for some reason.
Yeah, that was just Saturday, so not too bad. I don't know, man. I've been on this self-improvement kick. So I don't know. I've been feeling pretty good, but I don't know. What do you guys think about hypnosis and auto-suggestion and using that to change who you are?
I kind of think hypnosis is bullshit, but maybe you can change my mind.
Okay, well, so the idea is you have your conscious and your subconscious mind.
Well, I obviously those show things they do where they take an audience member and you're a chicken or whatever. Those are all bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, people probably do actually do that stuff because you are in an altered state, but it's not like you don't have a choice. People just make that choice when they're in that state. But yeah, not really talking about that type of hypnosis. This is just you relax yourself and you maybe even meditate or something, and basically you shut off your outer brain, you shut off your conscious mind. And then at that point when you're relaxed, maybe when you're going to sleep, something, then you can put ideas straight into your subconscious mind, basically kind of saying who you are, who you want to be, or basically changing negative beliefs that you have and changing your value systems so that you can be a better person.
So do you believe in universal health care yet?
No. No.
Just checking.
But you're doing hypnosis by yourself?
Right. This is my own recorded voice. There are a lot of YouTube videos where you can listen to other recordings and stuff. But I think it's better if you kind of make your own conscious decision of who you want to be and what you'd rather be or things that you think are need to be shifted, and that way it's more personal, and it's it's your own voice going into your brain.
Do you do that old like Stuart Smalley SNL bit where like you're good enough, you're smart enough, and God darn it, people like you?
Kind of. There's definitely some affirmation qualities in there, and yeah, I've been doing some affirmations in the morning and the evening, and I built my little. I don't know how deep we want to get into this. I built my little shrine over here.
Yeah, so
Even though I'm not a religious person,
you really got into the hippy dippy stuff. Like, what brought this on? Did you read something that's kind of brought all this on? Or
well,
what?
even though it's like there's a lot of mysticism there and a lot of like random shit. Most of it's all tied back into me trying to alter my subconscious. So, I mean, the affirmations, that's part of it. Just kind of like the gratitude training where you think up 3 things every day that you're grateful for that day, and just shifting the mindset. And so I got like some of these, well, I have tarot cards, but I also have like these, they're called, I don't know, arcane cards or something. It's basically all these like Jungian archetypes. And basically I've just been going through and just kind of looking at these and saying, well, maybe this is an aspect of myself I can concentrate on for a couple days and just kind of see, how I could improve, or maybe what I'm thinking about in a negative way or a wrong way or something like that.
The only thing about like messing with my subconscious that I like to do, and I've tried it at different times, and I've never really been able to do it, although I've done it a couple times, is lucid dreaming. I've managed to, in the past, have just a couple, and it's a really cool experience. But like, I don't know, most of the things I read, like to get good at it, you have to do things I don't really want to do. Like a lot of people say you have to keep like a dream journal or whatever. I don't like doing that. And then other people use this technique where basically they like wake themselves up in the middle of the night and maybe stay up for like, I don't know, 10 to 20 minutes, and then go back to sleep.
Yeah, I don't like the waking one, but I have done like the training at night where I'd listen to the tape while I sleep, going to sleep. And the morning, like I would do the journal, and like a lot of times it'd be very short. It'd be like a couple words or a sentence. I mean, it'd just be like a blip. Like I remember one little thing about it, and then like after like a couple weeks of doing this, like I'd get a paragraph. I'd get a couple paragraphs. I'd get like a page or 2 pages, and I'd be like, "Oh my god, this is just going on forever." But
Angela Lansbury slowly took off her bra.
Replacing Kathy Bates in my nightmares.
You like George R. R. Martin in there, buttered biscuits with.
You never know what's gonna pop up, man.
Yeah.
I had this one where I was getting all pissed off with Tom Hardy on like a movie set, and I was just like all pissed off, and I was gonna fight with him and shit.
But do you like Tom Hardy in real life, or what?
As an actor, yeah, I really like him. I don't know if I'd like him in real life.
Oh yeah.
Although when we saw Shang Chi, I saw the trailer for Venom 2, and I never saw the first one because the first one looked terrible, and I thought this trailer looked terrible too.
Really?
I'm not into it at all.
I like the Carnage.
It sucks because I like Tom Hardy so much, and like I'll just check the reviews. If somehow they pull it out and they get good reviews,
Yeah.
I'm in. But I didn't watch the first one.
You didn't think Carnage looked cool? The character?
I mean, the visuals look fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Woody Harrelson as an actor too, but like, I don't know, that trailer it just looked like action and nothing really to grab me. But
Yeah, Sony hasn't had the best track record here. So
no.
There's talk like Sony. So Sony worked with Marvel with Spider-Man, right? Didn't they like kind of work together with that?
So yeah, with the Tom Holland movies, like they're like co-produced or something. Like, yeah. So like Marvel kind of leads the way on those movies, and then I don't know if Sony gets all the money or I don't know how they like split the profits or whatever. But then it's weird because I thought that Sony was basically just producing all their own like villain movies that were completely separate. But then I don't know if you remember, like I think it was supposed to come out like this year, but because of the pandemic it didn't, that Morbius movie. And in the trailer for that, they had Michael Keaton's character, the Vulture, from the Spider-Man movie. So like, I don't know if like they're planning on like crossing over or something. It was kind of weird.
Well, I mean, the new Spider-Man that they're gonna make, it's a joint project. It seems like, right? Because like it's also got the old characters, but it might also have it has Doctor Strange in it.
That one's definitely like a Marvel partnership MCU movie.
Maybe Marvel will help elevate some of these.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, that'd be good, but I'd rather they just kind of disavow the ones that have already been made and start over.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks though,
Scrape
because
the
like
shit off your shoe.
Tom Hardy is like a great actor,
Yeah, he's exceptional.
but like, yeah. Did you watch the first Venom movie?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I didn't. See, I didn't watch it. I think it got pretty bad reviews. And
I checked the Rotten Tomatoes. I knew it was bad.
I watched the trailer for that one, and same thing. I was like, God, I love Tom Hardy, but this looks like shit, and I really don't want to watch it.
Yeah, I didn't like that trailer.
And like, I love superhero shows. You know, you heard me on this show. I watched Batwoman. It's 2 seasons worth.
Lois and Clark.
Oh, I used to watch that.
Lois
show.
and Clark is great. And remember, when we get to 1,000 subscribers, we're going to review every episode.
You guys, I don't think Dean Cain even likes comic book characters.
He probably doesn't.
Yeah, he was like the least knowledgeable about Superman.
Oh, yeah. He does like Hallmark romance movies now.
Oh, does he? I know Mario Lopez does those too. Didn't he play like Colonel Sanders in one recently?
I believe there was like some sort of like cross promotion between the Lifetime channel and Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
Because remember, for a while there, they were doing all this commercials with a ton of different people.
Yeah. I don't know if it was like a full length movie. It might have just been like a short, but they did do something. You're right. They did something weird.
Oh man.
Whenever there's an actor that you're like, whatever happened to that person? The answer is probably like Hallmark Channel or Lifetime Channel.
Or ABC Family.
Yeah. One of those.
Yeah. Those are all like clones of each other, aren't they? Like basically.
I think so. They're kind of in the same genre. Man, I don't know how my mom and sister do it, but like when it comes to Christmas time, they'll like play those Hallmark Christmas movies like nonstop. And they'll watch all of them.
Now they're terrible.
25 days straight.
What's great though is when you're sitting there and the entire plot is completely predictable. So you just call out all the plot points before they happen, and they get all pissed off at you. That is joy.
I swear there are multiples of those movies where the plot is like a small town girl goes to the city, becomes a city slicker, and then like she has to come back to her hometown where like something happens and she discovers the meaning of Christmas all over again and falls in love with some guy she knew from high school. I swear to fucking God, that's the plot of like 100 of those movies.
Or some prince out of time shows up.
Yeah, those happen too.
I was listening to, I think, Jordan Peterson, and he's talking about like the female fantasy, and he's like, if you look at movies and books and you really kind of like dig into it, basically it's like vampires and fucking like Beauty and the Beast kind of shit, or billionaires. It's like it's a small subset of people. I think I'm going to try to be a vampire.
Let's see. What did I watch this week? So I'm trying to think. Oh, so my HBO subscription ran out, but I did manage to squeeze in the second season of Titans, which I still dig. I will say though, like, and I'll keep this vague so there's not like a spoiler, but in season 2, there's a character that dies, and it was like I don't know, just like, I was like, that's the best you could come up with for killing a character off. Like, it was just like a stupid thing that I'm like, really? That killed that character? I'm like, I don't really buy that, but fine. It doesn't seem to be consistent with like how powerful you made the character seem.
That reminds me of Darwin from X-Men too. Remember when he died? Like, he had the ability to like basically mutate to anything in that certain situation, right? So he could like, if he was underwater, he could.
Right. He like grows gills or something.
Yeah. But in the movie, like, he's basically unbeatable. But in the movie, like, something gets stuck in his throat and his body can't adjust to it, and he like dies. It was such a stupid way for him to go.
I didn't remember him being in the movie. He was in the second one?
I don't know which one I just seen like people talk about it. Like,
oh, I see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a character that I've come across in the
Everybody's
comics.
eating and he's like in the background dying. Nobody notices.
Like, I've come across that character in the comics a few times, and like I was like, he seems like he has a really cool power set.
Yeah.
Why don't they use him more? Maybe he's too powerful.
Yeah,
I don't know.
probably. That's why the Sentry's not in like any comics. Like he's just too powerful. He'd just solve everything.
Yeah, that Darwin guy, man, he should be like the last motherfucker alive, really.
Yeah.
He should outlast them all.
Mm-hmm.
And then because I just couldn't help myself, I should have waited for them all to stack up, but I saw the last season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine on Hulu. I think they had about 8 episodes worth.
I heard you listening to it.
So I couldn't resist. I had to dig in.
You cracked the seal
I did.
on the stinky cheese.
Now I gotta wait. But
Like a sucker.
still enjoyable. I mean, that show does get a little schmaltzy and sentimental at times, maybe where they could just go for the joke more. But I still really enjoy it. It's a fun time.
Yeah, I like that show too. I have a YouTube TV subscription, and on there, like, unless you like download the or like you set the show to be DVR'd, like you have to watch it on demand most of the time, and so many commercials, like 3-minute, 4-minute commercials.
Oh yeah, I can't do commercials anymore.
Yeah.
Wait, you're paying for a service and have to watch commercials?
YouTube TV has commercials. Yeah.
Do they have like the more expensive commercial-free type plan?
No, just
Really?
commercials.
Like when I'm sitting at the office on the weekend doing nothing, like they have like a subset of movies that are free with commercials. So I was watching those.
Yeah, I watched It Follows recently again, and it was free on Amazon, I think, or Vudu. One of those with
The thing is, a lot of them have like a couple like random free ones, but you never like really know what's where. Like I don't know. I guess you could search it, but
There is a site called justwatch.com where you can punch in like if you have something in mind to watch in it, and it'll tell you like if it's on a streaming service or
yeah.
how you can watch it.
There are some amazing websites. There's this guy I follow on TikTok who talks about these websites, and he says there's one that if you type in a few words, you can get those. If those words were spoken in any movie, you can get all the movies and all the clips like pulled up with those words in it.
I've seen like lyric like searches like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It kind of you ever like because YouTube. Usually, if you like a song, you can put in whatever the song plus lyrics, and somebody had,
you'll
done
have
that.
something close enough. Yeah.
But have you ever watched one of those and like the person got the lyrics so wrong, and you're just like, what the fuck? Is English your second language? What's going on here? This is terrible. I'm like, this is almost not worth watching.
Yeah, lyrics are notoriously difficult.
Oh yeah, when I was young and I used to listen I still listen to hip hop, but hip hop's like really hard to understand sometimes, and I'd just be like, I just say whatever. Derp, derp. Yeah.
It's so weird how you can love a song and like only understand like
Hey Sharon.
You're like, I don't know what the rest of the lyrics are or something.
Like Michael Jackson's Mama C, Mama, whatever. I don't even know.
Right, you can't even start.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many songs like that, yeah.
Well, since we got that review coming up, why don't we go ahead and get the show started? So if anyone who hasn't watched, we go around, bring a topic of conversation up. So we figure we'll do a round of just random topics, and then we'll get into the review. And as tradition dictates, we usually start with AJ for these. So AJ, what do you got for us this week?
All right, my favorite kind of topic. In case you missed it, a Colorado Springs neighborhood is being under attack from a woman named the Mad Pooper. The woman, a jogger who has recently been identified as Shirley, has been terrorizing residents by stopping during her runs and literally pooping on their lawns, sometimes in front of their children.
Now, the thing is, when you're done, You got to pull up trout and keep running.
I mean, you're sweating too, so that's like
Yeah.
spreading everywhere into your pants and everything.
Yes, you got sweaty shit butt.
Oh, and your shoes probably get it too. Your socks and shoes. All right, so let's see, what was I? So far, authorities have been unable to catch her. Yesterday, however, a man came forward claiming to be Shirley's spokesperson and explained her behavior in a video, which has since been taken down.
I'm going to be her agent.
I guess he's getting on the ground floor before she really blows up. He said that Shirley is sorry for desecrating people's lawns, but that she cannot be held accountable as she is suffering from a traumatic brain injury. He added that she had also had gender reassignment surgery and as a result is no longer able to control herself. In addition, he claimed that Shirley's actions are protected under the First Amendment and therefore the government cannot control when and where she relieves herself.
I forgot about that amendment.
It's a form of
Freedom to shit wherever you want.
it's a form of expression.
Oh yeah, those cops would be totally against it. The one that guy stared at them and farted at them.
Oh yeah,
It's a power move.
Though the spokesman has not provided any proof that he actually represents the Mad Pooper, Lowe said that making the statement was a poor move in the Pooper's part. This was actually the worst thing that the family could do. Maybe they thought the videos would make the situation go away, but they won't. People all over the world are talking about this, and police will catch her. The man in the video will also be called to court to testify. The neighbors who are already outraged by the Pooper's actions are now even more so after the statement was released. I breastfed all my 4 children, and that's just ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. Neighbor Shirley Thenovat said, maybe she's the Pooper.
What's that? I'm missing the logical connection.
Yeah,
now.
there is no comparison between those. Huh? Oh, I guess the spokesman maybe said something. Let's see. Breastfeeding is nourishing your child. You're doing something to take care of someone, but pooping in someone's lawn is only damaging. The videos have since been removed. However, the hype over the Mad Pooper hasn't died down. Toilet paper company Sherman has offered her a year's supply of toilet paper if she returns herself in, and the company Squatty Potty has been cashing in on her fame as a social media campaign. I mean, yeah, she could just take one of those squatty potties with her, like, to jog and then just, go nuts.
Well, she's just squatting anyway.
Yeah, and plus, like, where are you going to dump that potty? You could do it in the gutter, maybe.
Because isn't it just like a stool you put around your toilet so you can squat over your toilet?
Oh, is that all it is?
I think that's all it is.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like an actual potty. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's just to help you shit on your own toilet.
Yeah, she's already squatting. I hope she's squatting.
She could just wear a skirt and just let it fly.
You know the Tom Segura guy that says he only shits like once a month?
Oh, yeah.
Apparently he shits kind of like he said he like squats over his toilet and shits.
He probably has to because it's probably massive, right?
I think he says he has to flush multiple times, like during.
Yeah, he has to break that up with a plunger, I'm sure. Like,
I don't know.
I swear to God, I just let it all stack in there and leave it.
oh God.
If you,
It's like I want to.
well, I wouldn't be your roommate anymore.
You don't have to deal with it like once a month.
Once is enough.
You got a nose, don't you?
Shitter's full.
It would be funny to go to a public restroom and leave just the toilet completely filled to the brim.
Go knock out a Taco Bell or something. They've seen worse.
Although I have had a job once where I had to clean toilets at a department store, and I would not want to walk in on that.
Yeah, no.
I'd just be like, oh, I quit.
Yeah.
Actually, my cousin, he took a shit in a Taco Bell and like plugged it up. And like he went to the front desk and it's just like, hey, I plugged your toilet. And I was like, no way I'd ever fucking tell anybody. I'd be like, that surprise is for you guys to find out about.
Yeah, I wouldn't be telling people I'm the one who did it.
Now can I get Crunchwrap Supreme?
Have you guys seen that SNL skit where that who was it? I think it's Jonah Hill was on, and there was like a skit where they're talking about somebody blocked the toilet, and they're like, well, who did it? And they're on a game show, and he's one of the contestants, and the host is like, who blocked our toilet? And like he's like freaking out, he's sweating, and they're like, we're gonna press charges. That's some serious damage. You did $100,000 worth of damage to our restroom. And like they don't know it was him, but he's like sweating balls, and he's just like, oh yeah, whoever did it better speak up.
Man, that story you told about, or which cousin was that? Was that Jason?
That was Jason.
I haven't. Another Jason story. That's one of the things that made me probably laugh harder than I've ever laughed before. So, so like, to bring this back a little bit, like, so we grew up in a trailer court, and like our landlord, like, was like the picture definition of slumlord. Like, right? Like, this guy was a total like scumbag, right? But anyway, so like when I'm in high school, at least, I don't know exactly when he moved in, but our cousin Jason moved from Texas, and like he needed somewhere kind of cheap to stay. So he ended up living in the same trailer court that we lived in. And he lived there for probably a couple years. But as he was getting to where he was almost going to move out, like his toilet had stopped working. And he told our landlord about it, but our landlord just wouldn't do anything about it. So he just kept shitting in the toilet and filling it up because he knew he was leaving. And I was over there one day, and he's like, "Hey, come take a look at it." And I went and saw. And there's something about seeing a toilet that's filled almost to the brim full of shit. It was just so fucking funny, especially just knowing that our landlord was going to have to deal with it. Oh, man, I fucking laughed so hard when I saw that toilet full of shit. I was like, that is the best thing ever.
That would stick with me. Like, even just the thought of it.
Yeah.
I think you said he was like peeing in the bathtub because the toilet was so full.
That makes sense, yeah.
Oh, God. That was so fucking hilarious.
Man, shit stories.
Man, another story. So I mentioned having to, my first job ever, I worked at a department store. And a lot of times, frequently, I would be stuck with the janitorial stuff at night, cleaning the bathrooms. And like one day, one of the stalls was locked from the inside. And I'm like, at first I'm like, some fucking kid did this or something, right? But I'm like, I stand on the toilet on the next stall over and to peek in, and like somebody had taken like a diarrhea shit and then like puked on top of it and didn't flush it. And it wasn't like the toilet was like not in working order and not flushing. So like I had to like, reach down, stretch down to get the lock open and then go over and flush it. And then of course clean it. And it's like, ugh, it's so nasty.
There's so many like shit stories out there.
Yeah.
Man, our sister had her friend, she had the diarrhea. She was having like one of those photo finishes. And apparently like she didn't quite make it to the finish line. And there was like shit on the wall and stuff.
She definitely didn't make it to the finish line.
Yeah. It was close though.
I mean, working that job, you definitely see a lot of like splatter. Mom said, because she worked there before I did, and she did it once too. And she said this one time, she says this guy must have like started shitting like as he was sitting down, because she said the back of the toilet was just like splattered with shit like all the way down.
Man, that's my fear. I sleep in the basement in our house, and I got to go up 2 flights of stairs. And when you wake up with like a gargling stomach, I got to fight Zeus to get up there, man. It's like, I take breaks, I stop sweating, and then go up the next flight of stairs, man.
Yeah, that's not a great situation out there. You should have like one of those poop buckets on the deck.
Yeah, emergency. You can just go outside and fucking mad poop in them.
Those shitter lids they have for like a 5-gallon bucket.
Oh, God. That's actually pretty convenient. Yeah. Huh.
I saw a Tom Segura once where like they played a video, and it was this lady like she wasn't taping the woman shitting, but this old Asian lady had just taken a shit like in her yard by like her bushes or whatever, and she was kind of like berating this woman, but like she wasn't the mad pooper. She just like was like from mainland China, and that's just like what they do over there.
You know, your garden or something.
Yeah. So it was like, one of those type of things. But she was all after, like, my kids could have saw that, or, that kind of thing. It's like,
I mean, it's better than...
Yeah, I mean, if you think back just like 100 years ago, like, probably just super common just to see people shit.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
I think we talked about it. Like in I think ancient Rome and even ancient India, they had plumbing systems. But in most of the world, up until like the 1800s, after those times, people were just throwing shit into the streets.
Yeah, just shit in a pan and
Yeah, in a bucket. That's nuts, man. We went back.
Oh yeah,
Backwards. Like thousands of years ago, we figured this out. But
the old chamber pots.
well, they said like civilization didn't make it back to like the same point to like 1,000 years after Rome fell or something. It's like they were that advanced.
yeah,
This was a good topic. You should get your sister to watch this. She loves
these topics.
She gets so offended by I swear like anytime she watches these, she's like, I got my bowl of chocolate pudding. I'm just gonna sit down and watch this. Oh God.
Any girl you mention poop around, because you know what? I think they're thinking, I don't want you to know that I poop. Right? Isn't that like that must be
That might be it.
There's like a unspoken agreement. It's like you don't talk about it, I won't talk about it. Like you don't have a butthole.
Right, yeah.
But don't you want one of those chicks that you can just fart around?
Yeah, just bust ass. I think most people come to like a space where they both do.
Yeah, that happens.
Or Roman just stays offended for all time.
I just don't want anybody who uses the restroom in front of me, like a number 2. I don't want that. I'm not comfortable.
No, you can close the door.
Yeah.
It's okay, honey. I don't want to stop loving you today. Stop loving you today.
I definitely don't get the people that shit with the door open.
Yeah.
Our dad does that sometimes.
I was a kid, like, you're a kid and you chase each other and I'd go and run and slam the bathroom door. And so I run into the bathroom and slam the door and lock it in my dad's.
He's right there using the restroom.
Well, I have a worse story than that, remember? We were playing hide and go seek once. And I was really small at the time. And so I hid in the closet right next to the toilet, and my dad came in there and took a shit. To be fair, I won that game of hide and seek.
You stayed in there?
Paid the price.
I didn't want to lose.
You lost, trust me.
Also, it's hard to come out.
How do you come out of that? Yeah, did you wait?
I waited for him to leave.
Oh no!
I wasn't going to come out when he was in the middle. That'd be even more awkward.
It's after a certain point, you've gone too far.
Oh man!
Because I live here now.
Oh man. Hide and seek champ.
Yeah. Marco.
All right, man. That was a good topic. Now, do you want to go to your topic? You got something good? Because we are at we're past 30 minutes already, and we still got the review to do.
Maybe we can squeeze in the review. I'll save these for next week. Next week will be a juicy 2-weeker.
All right, let's see what we got here. So, yeah, this past Labor Day weekend, we saw Shang Chi, the Marvel MCU movie, the latest entry in that long-running series. And the official synopsis reads thusly. Marvel Studios' Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings stars Simu Liu as Shang-Chi, who must confront the past he thought he left behind when he is drawn in the web of the mysterious Ten Rings. The film co-stars Tony, and I'm going to butcher a ton of names here. Actually, you know what's fucked up is I looked up the lead guy's name. It's Simu Liu, and I still fucked it up when I first said it. So Tony Leung as Wenwu, which is Shang-Chi's father. Aquafina as Katie, his friend. Yeah. Manger Zhang, Jesus, is Xiling. I believe that's his sister. Fala Chen is Zhang Li, which I believe is his mother. Florian Montanu is Razor Fist, and Benedict Wong is Wong. Who directed this thing? Destin Daniel Cretton. I don't think I've ever heard of him. I don't know what else he's done. All right, so first we're just going to do our general spoiler-free impressions of the film, and then we'll get in kind of more spoiler-filled breakdown of the plot. So, guys, just kind of overall, how do you feel about Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings?
I liked it. I think it's cool that Marvel's expanding into like new territories and trying new stuff. But I mean, obviously the formula is still the same. Overall, I thought it was fun. Fun experience. I liked it. It was a good time. I'll give my score at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. It was maybe a little awkward at times. Just bringing in some new characters, and like I'd never heard of this character. I'm not deep into the universe or anything, but I mean, they've had some kind of like hits that weren't like mainline characters, so I can definitely see them trying to expand. And they've killed a couple people here and there, so they probably need a few things.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. I liked the movie too. I thought it was pretty solid, and kind of like you said, like this is a character that I don't really know. Like, I've read a lot of Marvel comics, and like he does show up from time to time, but I think he was really born out of just like the craze over like Bruce Lee and like those kind of kung fu movies that were popular in the 70s. And at the time, Marvel was like, well, let's just make a character that's like this, But much like the Guardians of the Galaxy that I knew, before that movie came out, I didn't really know much about those characters, and so I like that here. And to be honest, I have no idea how much this strays from the Shang-Chi comics.
Yeah, right.
In fact, I always thought it was Shang Chi until I saw this movie, and I'm like, oh, Shang Chi. Okay.
Well, that's another thing with side characters. I think you get a little more freedom in what you can do. So I can see the appeal from that angle too.
Oh yeah, it's true. You don't have all those fanboys who are like getting really upset about you.
They're gonna be Superman's penis isn't 7.5 inches long.
That's true. Yeah.
But just speaking in generalities, I do like a good like kung fu fight, and I thought the fight choreography in this movie was actually pretty good and pretty fun. And we mentioned Aquafina. I did like her as kind of the comic relief character. I thought she was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, she was. I mean, she's definitely a different kind of character, kind of goofy, and she's got this kind of raspy voice, and it's kind of like a goofy, stupid, but not entirely.
Yeah.
But she's definitely kind of breaks the mold, and
And she kind of brings like us for the ride, right? Because she's representing like us, the viewer, kind of.
Kind of
right?
a more common.
Yeah.
Yeah, so overall, I enjoyed it. I don't know if this would like break my top 10 Marvel movies list. Probably not, but definitely a solid entry. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing him in the future.
Definitely. All right, so should we get into spoilers ahead territory?
All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
Get into the plot here.
Now, I will say, like, you guys are going to have to help me out on this because I always say this, but I think it's more true with this one, like remembering the different plot points and stuff.
So, I mean, I'm not sure this is exactly where it starts, but I think probably the easiest way is to start with the dad's backstory.
Mm-hmm.
That is where the movie starts.
Because I thought it kind of jumped around a little bit, but...
Well, it starts with a woman narrating, and maybe that's...
the mom?
Yeah, it must
or
be.
the aunt.
Maybe the aunt.
And she's basically, telling the story of Shang-Chi's father. And at the beginning of the movie, he has the 10 rings already. And I forget what she says, because she's like, maybe he found them in some ruins. Maybe
in a crater or
right,
a tomb.
so it's like 10,000 years ago or something. It's like folklore at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, he's on his horse. He's got his army behind him, and they're going to fight this other army. Now, I got a question for you, and this is skipping ahead a little bit. There's a conversation later on in the movie between the father and Shang-Chi and Aquafina, where he's like talking about the importance of names. And he's like, I've had many names over the years. People called me these different things. And one of them, I want to say, it was the Great Khan. Mm-hmm. So are they inferring that he was Genghis Khan?
Oh, shoot. I didn't even pick up on that.
I didn't. I could see where that might make sense.
Yeah, because he did say he ruled from like the Caspian to over like the Mongol Empire, right?
Right. Well, essentially, at some point, it sounded like basically he was a warlord that essentially, I thought, pretty much conquered everybody. But I guess that doesn't really fit with everything. But
Well, like behind the scenes conquered. Like he would control whose government does what or whatever, like stuff like that.
Yeah, I when he dropped that line, I was like, "Oh, is that what we're supposed to believe?" But I guess they could just be one of those things that you maybe not.
right, that's probably is the reference. But so yeah, he's off warlording and essentially like conquers the world or whatever. And so he gets to the point where like he doesn't have anything left to conquer. So he kind of slips into legend. There's a legend of this mythic place called, is it Talao, something like that?
I think so.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
It's Talo.
Talo, maybe. And it's like this mythical forest with magical creatures and a hidden civilization. And so he decides he's going to go conquer that.
Yeah, so I do remember like it jumped ahead. So first he has that battle where he basically shows off the 10 rings and he just wrecks shop on that other army. And then it jumps ahead to like 1996. And now he's like the head of this group or whatever. And he's got like this stronghold in the mountains. And yeah, like you're saying, he's like, he tracked down that Talos place and he's like, I want to go see it. They have like some special martial arts there or something.
Something, yeah.
So yeah, they lead an expedition there. They're driving through this forest, and all of a sudden, like the trees start moving.
Right. It's kind of like the maze in Harry Potter. Like it closes behind you. It does weird stuff.
Yeah, and so like it starts closing behind them. So like they drive, and like it basically catches up to him and shoots a car off a cliff, and like the guys that were with him just like fucking go and die, and like he bails out because he's got the rings or whatever. So yeah, he walks through the forest a little bit, and he finds this hidden place. And like he runs into a woman there who's like I don't know if she's like a guardian of that place or whatever.
Maybe she was a gatekeeper because she was the only one there out of the community.
Yeah, that's at that part of the movie. That's the only like person that's there. And so they start getting into this. They basically have one of these like crouching tiger, hidden dragon type of fights where they're just like gliding all over the place and.
Like she controls like the wind or something.
It looked like that, yeah.
And like staring lovingly into each other's eyes.
Yeah,
that was porn right there. That was very tense. There was a lot of tension.
Yeah, they have this fight where they're basically like dancing almost, and like you can see like he likes her, and like they're kind of like falling in love as they fight. Although at the end of the movie they mirror that same thing with him and his son.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's an intimate moment.
But anyway, it ends. She like dumps him in the water.
Well,
and...
to be fair, he did say to his son, "You look like your mother."
But she dumps him in the water, and he's like, in love with her. So then it jumps ahead, I guess, a year or whatever, and we see that they have a child together. It kind of actually jumps through time a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of an interesting character in that, like, he's been a warlord. He's obviously done some pretty terrible shit. And they kind of try to turn him by becoming a family man because he falls in love and he has his family. But, it goes through all that. And, like, I guess for his marriage, like, he lays down the rings. Like, he doesn't use them for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And
he starts growing older.
He gets older.
Although, why would he have to do that?
No, he didn't have
because
to.
because of his nagging wife.
Does he just want to grow old with her? Is that kind of?
I don't know. They just mentioned that she asked him to put him away or put him down or something.
Oh, okay.
So he does that for her, and like he's happy in love or whatever. And then like from his past, like some gang like that he'd fucked with in his other life comes and they have a fight scene. They kill the mom, and the kid has to witness it. So it's all messed up.
So going back, so yeah, we see him holding Shang as an infant, and then we see him as maybe like a 3-year-old or something with the mom, and the mom gives him this green like pendant, like necklace thing, talisman or
both
whatever.
Both kids get a pendant.
Yeah, except we don't know about the other kid at this point. So after she puts the necklace on him, and she's like, she says something like, "This is to remind you of where you're from," or something like that.
That's how it's supposed to show you your way home or something.
Yeah. Something like, yeah. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it said. And so then it skips to modern days. So now I guess Shang would be like in his early 20s or something like that. And he's wearing the pendant. I guess we kind of get the impression that he probably never takes it off. And he's in his apartment. He starts like doing push-ups, and we see that he's all muscular and whatnot. And then he's getting ready to work, and like he's putting on a shirt and stuff. And it kind of makes you think like he's maybe like a businessman getting ready, like in fancy clothes or whatever. And it cuts to like this fancy car pulling up, and this guy gets out of it, but the guy's not him. And then he tosses the keys to Shang, and then it shows that him and Aquafina are valets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody did a breakdown of that, and they talked about how, like, in a lot of Marvel movies, like, the main character is, like, Tony Stark, you know, who, like, pulls up in a badass car and looks like that. So they were kind of playing off of that when they did that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. A little the other end of the spectrum.
They actually, I guess, could have, like, did a cameo of, like, some rich guy in the MCU right there,
Oh, yeah,
if they
true.
wanted to. But yeah, so Aquafina, like, she takes the keys because she wants to drive, and like he's like, you gotta be responsible or whatever, and she's like, I'm gonna be. And then he gets in a car, and of course she's like driving it all over. She's driving all crazy because she's Asian. No,
Oh. No, because she's a woman. No, that's messed up.
so they get off work. Oh, and then it cuts to, and they do this a couple times. So they're having dinner with like this old high school friend of theirs, and like her new husband or whatever. And like she basically, like they're friends, but she's like basically telling them that they're kind of wasting their lives, and like they should do more with their lives and get a better job, basically. And then like they get out of there, and they're like, "What is she talking about? We're so responsible." Or whatever, and valeting is like a hard job or whatever. And he's like, well, I guess we should go home and sleep. And like, I think she's like, well, we could do that, or we could. And then it cuts to them like in the club, like singing karaoke.
Karaoke and drinking.
Yeah, partying it up.
Responsible.
So then it's the next morning. He goes to her house because they like ride the bus together each morning or whatever to work. And like we're introduced to her family, and like her family is kind of similar, right? In which they're like, yeah, you need to do more with your life.
Get married.
Yeah, and like the grandma there is like, why don't you kids get married? And he's like, oh, we're just friends. Now, do you guys think they're shaping up for them to be a couple?
I mean, maybe, but you can play that tension for a while, though.
I hope not. I like them as friends.
Okay. So yeah.
Although I will say this is like, it feels a little weird that he has superpowers and she's going forward with basically nothing. And I'm like, is this another Hawkeye situation?
I was going to say, as we get to the end of this movie, we got a Hawkeye
Got
replacement.
another Hawkeye coming. The first one didn't even fall off the fucking cliff.
They still want to replace his ass.
His contract's going to run out at some point.
It's like we only have to pay him $20,000 a movie.
So they get on the bus, they're going to work, and finally we get some more action in this movie. So guy comes up and he's like, hey, give me that necklace you got there. And he's like, eat shit, whatever he says. But the guy won't leave him alone. And then these other guys come up and like they're going to start fighting him. And like this is where we find out like Aquafina has like no idea of this guy's past and that he can fight. And so he just starts like, now we get our first kind of kung fu fight scene, and he's just like, you know, wrecking these guys, and she's like, what the fuck's going on? And they have this like comedy bit where this guy on the bus starts like filming them for his like YouTube channel or whatever, or TikTok or whatever. Did you guys like that aspect of it?
I liked it. Mostly I liked it because he was in Spider-Man too. So he was like the guy who was like, hey, do a flip, Spider-Man. And like he did that flip for him.
Oh, I didn't know they reused the same guy.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny, I guess.
I like that.
Yeah, I didn't.
I would have never put that together just to use the same guy. He'll be the new like Stan Lee. They'll put him in everything where he'll have like some sort of.
I don't know. I'm still fairly like confident we're going to see Stan Lee again, even though he's dead.
All right.
I mean, what would they do with him that would be respectful?
I mean, just give him cameo. I mean, don't have him like shitting or something.
But I mean, what kind of cameo? Like,
no, he's done a million cameos.
But he wasn't in this movie. I figured if they would have done that, they would have added him to this too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
but I mean, you think they're gonna like CG Tarkin him like?
I think they could.
They could, but that never looks good, and I don't know. I don't think they'll do that.
I mean, it looked okay when they did Kurt Russell.
I don't know. It always looks a little plasticky, and you can tell. I don't know.
It's not perfect, maybe.
I don't think they need to do that.
I wouldn't mind. Anyway, moving on. Big fight.
Oh yeah, you go.
The mini boss on the bus turns out to be this guy with a taser fist.
Oh, we find
Razor
out
fist.
he's Razor Fist later.
Razor fist.
You're thinking a taser face.
Yeah.
I was thinking taser
Which
face.
is,
I thought it
think-
was taser face and taser fist. So laser fist.
It's definitely got to be a play on Taserface, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it could very well be. I don't know.
So yeah, they're fighting. They're fighting. Something happens to the bus driver. She takes over as bus driver,
And the
they're
brakes
driving
go
all
out, too.
crazy. And yeah, so the brakes
Razor fist like puts a
punches
sword through
the brake line.
brake line. Yeah.
Yeah, on accident. But so yeah, they're going down this hill. She's driving all crazy.
Because she's Asian.
But yeah, so anyway, end of the day, Taserface escapes with the pendant. They have a crash with a truck, and they move on with their lives.
Well,
When did he get that pen, by the way?
He had gotten a letter or two earlier from his sister.
Oh yeah, back in his apartment, he had a postcard with a dragon on it.
And he thought it was from his sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, and have her address.
And when he got the jade necklace or whatever, like that was when Shang Chi was flipping, and he did that spin move in the air, like right in front of him, where he kind of like turned sideways. He's horizontal, and he's like,
Oh, so like if you pay attention, you can't actually like see the moment when it happened, or
well, it's hidden. Like it's
Oh,
while
okay.
he's facing the other guy and away from the camera.
Oh,
And
okay.
then when he turns around, you don't see the necklace anymore.
oh, okay. But yeah, like you said, eventually the bus crashes. Well, the back half of the bus, I guess, because it like gets torn
Yeah,
off.
part of it was like slicing the bus in half, and she turned a sharp corner, and the guy got ejected with the second half of the bus or something.
So then Sean goes back to his apartment and he tells, and Katie's there too, and she's like, "What the hell is going on?" And he's like, "I'll explain later, but I gotta go now." And he takes the postcard or whatever, and he's like, and she's like, "You'll explain to me on the plane." Like she insists on going with him. So then now help me out here, because like. Here, like he tells in a flashback some of his childhood. I don't think this is where he mentions where his mom is killed, because that happens later.
Well, I don't know if it's real important, but basically after the mom dies, his dad puts the rings back on, and he starts training the son in this martial arts. So from like 5 until 13, 14, something like that, he's doing all these martial. He's becoming a master martial artist.
Yeah, so he kind of So this is a montage of basically all kind of like the brutal training that he went through.
Right.
as
All
a
this
kid.
going on, the girl's denied the ability to train, so she kind of watches and trains by herself in the shadows.
Yeah, and she gets really good at the swinging the chain type of
Yeah.
thing. And then like there's this like comedy spot where like the stewardess like interrupts them as he's like telling this story, and it pops back to the present with them on the airplane or whatever.
Right, little comic relief again.
Yeah, like they ran out of all the food.
Yeah.
So basically, they get down there and they get into this fight club, which turns out to be run by the sister. Like she's built up this business, and it shows the what is it, Wong?
Yeah, Wong and the Abomination, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're in like this battle royale cage, and they're fighting, and eventually Wong kicks his butt, and they both leave together.
Yeah, he like portals his arm so the Abomination like punches himself out.
Stop
Now-
punching yourself.
Now, when he was entering the building, Shang-Chi he signed this paper that he was told to sign.
Right, so he has to fight.
Now he has to fight.
Yeah, he had no idea what he was signing, but that's what he was signing.
The lawyers get you every time.
And they're greeted by that Ronnie Chang guy from The Daily Show, who's like a comedian or whatever.
He's more comic relief.
Yeah.
And so then he fights the champion, who turns out to be his sister.
His sister, yeah. And so, like, as they're fighting, he's basically trying to get her to stop fighting, and tells her that the dad's going to come after them, and like to end the fight, she like has to knock him out or whatever. And then so they're taught, and Aquafina like comes in with a bunch of money, and she apparently bet on the sister or whatever, another little joke or whatever.
She must have a pretty decent stack of cash to start with.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
she got all her plane money back.
She did have that fanny pack on. She must have had some dollar bills in there.
That's where you keep your money.
So I don't know if they really say anything of consequence here, but it's not that long of a conversation until like the Fight Club starts getting infiltrated by their father's men. And
so, at this point, it is a little convoluted because apparently the dad had this whole thing was his plan.
Yeah.
Instead of just like going and capturing them or something.
oh yeah, maybe that's what their conversation was about. Is that it was revealed that she didn't send him the postcard like he thought.
Right.
So it was like
dad.
it was a dad, a ploy to get them together, I guess.
So yeah, they're all together. There's a bunch of bad guys coming. So they have all these big fight scenes and they're fighting the baddies.
Yeah. So he breaks a window. They go out on the scaffolding to get away, and like this is and I actually liked this fight scene too. I thought they had some good kind of fight choreography in here too. He's fighting all these ninjas throughout here, and they have like taser sticks that they're like trying to get him with. And at one point, like Aquafina like is on this bamboo thing that like perilously like dangles, over the city, but he like grabs her at the last second.
No, he doesn't get her. The sister gets her.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, the sister like dives out
because they had split apart. Like the sister had left him.
That's right.
And then like she comes back in at the last moment and saves her.
But in the mix of everything, I believe her pendant gets stolen by like one of the main baddies that's like wearing a mask so you can differentiate him.
Yeah.
And she's like, he's got this thing. So Shang ends up going after him. Now, just a second. Now, they kind of show in this fight, because I think the sister just like straight up, knocks a guy off the building to his death. And like, I think he kind of acknowledges that right there. But didn't he do the same thing? Didn't he?
Many times.
That's what I thought. Like, I was like, didn't many of the guys he fought like get thrown off the building too? But his were less intentional, I guess.
He literally walked over one's back and then knocked him down like while doing that.
So he's chasing after this other guy. This other guy's about to jump on a helicopter and get away, but Shang cuts him off. They start getting into a fight, but it doesn't last super long. And like the dad comes in and he's got the sister and Aquafina, and like he got him basically.
Yeah, and he's like, I told them they'd never get you.
They couldn't kill you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad to see I was right. Something stupid.
I knew about a dozen of my men would fall to their deaths.
Yeah. I knew this was like pretty pointless. But here we are.
Yeah, you figure if you're like one of those ninjas, he's like, what the fuck just happened?
Like he could have done that by himself. He could have walked in by himself with those rings and been like, yeah, you guys are coming with me.
By the way, if this guy was Genghis Khan, these guys have a lot of other brothers and sisters too, because that dude raped a lot.
Yeah, that's true. That dude fought.
It's like our mom's got a lot of half brothers out there you don't know about.
Yeah, yeah. If he goes on Ancestry.com, he's gonna find some shit. Okay, so he brings them back to
just to touch on that. Genghis Khan was worth, I think, $100 trillion.
$100 trillion.
Yeah, in today's money.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good.
I don't know how you adjust horses and like sheep for inflation, but
yeah, who did this calculation?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that.
He did all right for himself. The dad brings him back to his mountain stronghold, which is where they kind of grew up as a family. And this is where they have that conversation I was referencing earlier, where like he's talking about the importance of names, and he like asks Aquafina like, "What's your real name? You like your Chinese name or whatever?" And then this is where he references probably my least favorite movie in the MCU, which is Iron Man 3, which I think is a terrible movie and I don't like it.
Yeah, this was a strange idea, but...
No, it was good, though. I think they did a good job of reconciling, like, you know...
It was all right, I guess.
Yeah, he basically talks about how, like, you know, a terrorist or a bad guy wanted to scare people, so he invented a terrorist, an Asian terrorist, and he's like, you know what he called himself? The Mandarin, which is like an orange or whatever.
Right. But they'd hired his organization to do the dirty work.
Who did?
I think like the American government or somebody.
Wait, what? The government was working with the Ten Rings?
Right, the Ten Rings was actually doing the terrorist stuff. But like the other guy, he was the front man, right?
No, I thought it was just Aldrich Killian, who was in charge of all that. Like, he was the one behind that fake Mandarin, and his organization was like...
Yeah, I didn't get the sense the way this guy talked about it that he would have been in like cahoots with him, since he didn't like that this guy like
used his name or used his image.
Yeah. Oh, maybe they tried to steal his image?
Something like that.
I don't know. At any rate, he was pissed off about it.
Yeah.
No, at this point in the movie, I was a little confused because I thought they had referenced the mother dying, but then he brings him into this other room and he starts talking about how, like, I think your mother is being held in this place. And then, because they hadn't shown the flashback scene yet where they showed the mother being killed. So I was a little confused. I was like, did I hear something wrong? Is she alive and just gone? What do you?
Well, the dad's under some kind of delusion or something.
Well, we find that out, but what did you guys think before it kind of revealed that part of it?
I thought they all believed she was dead, but then, like, maybe there was a way where she was maybe somewhere else, you know, like, but the consensus was that she was dead before.
Okay, yeah, I was a little confused by that. So then, like, yeah, the father's convinced, like, he can hear her voice, and he's like, I think she's back, you know, in that mysterious Talos or whatever village, and, like, the elders are, like, you know, hiding her away from us or whatever, because they don't like me. And Shang Chi is like, nah, this is bullshit. But then he takes the two jade pendants, and there's like this like dragon statue, and he puts them in the eyes. And then this is kind of weird because it spits out this like CGI water that then like goes down, and it creates this image of the forest maze, and it basically shows the way through, and I guess at what time to start.
Right, you have to know the path through and the time because the maze changes. So, but if you know those two things, then you can make it to like the gateway into the village.
But did this water make them wet at all?
No, it went around them, I think.
I was like, what the fuck is this mystic water? But this is one of those movies where they're just like, yep, there's some mystic shit going on. You don't have to question it, I guess. So the father basically tells Shang that like they're gonna go there, and like if they have to, like they're gonna burn down this village to get the mother back or whatever. And like Shang's like, whoa, that's not cool, Pops. Or whatever he said, I don't know. And so then the father's like, you need to grow up or whatever. So he locks him, the sister, and Aquafina away in like a dungeon. And like they're going to head out the next day or whatever to this place. So like now they're in the dungeon and like they hear a weird noise and like they go towards it. And like it turns out to be Ben Kingsley. Because Oh yeah, because basically their father was mad at this guy for pretending to be the Mandarin and was going to kill them, but then he started doing like his acting stuff, and they were like, "Oh, this guy's funny. We'll keep him around as like a jester."
Yeah.
Right. What is that? 1001 Tales or whatever. Like a Sherazade.
What's 1001 Tales?
Like an Arabian Nights.
Arabian
kind of?
Nights. Where like he's gonna kill her, but every night she tells him a new story, and she kind of ends on like a cliffhanger. So you have to keep going and going.
Oh, I don't think I've ever actually I've heard that story, but I didn't know what it was about.
That's pretty good. I liked it. Yeah.
So they're talking to him, and this like creature with I don't know how to.
It's a furball with wings.
Yeah, furball with wings. He has like no face, just kind of like an ass on both sides, I guess.
They call him a furry pig, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Ben Kingsley refers to him as Morris, I think.
Yeah.
And he was from that like magical place or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm. And Ben Kingsley can understand him while nobody else can.
Yeah. This is kind of like one of those like Chewbacca things where like, oh yeah, I can understand him perfectly.
He's been living down there with him for a while, so you know he's got time.
He
can learn the language. Yeah.
I don't know if they really during that conversation say anything in consequence, but then the sister like breaks through the wall and she's like, "Oh yeah, there's this convenient tunnel system in here that I used to escape the first time."
Yeah.
Well, did we touch on the fact that like Morris knows the way back to Talo?
Right. So Morris can help him get through the maze before the time and path open because there's other ways, but you have to really know what's going on or you get killed.
Okay. The other thing I don't know if we touched on, and I actually don't remember where it comes up in the movie. You already talked about it a little bit. At some point, there's a flashback where, it shows like these mobsters that are mad at their dad track them down to like their home in that mountain stronghold, and they're like, someone's gonna have to pay the price. So like, the mom tells a young Shang Chi to like, go away, and she'll deal with these guys. And like he watches on, is like she fights them, but she eventually is killed by him. And then the dad shows up, and like he's all sad, obviously. And then like you were saying earlier, that's when he like goes back. He puts the rings back on. He ends up tracking these mobsters down to their bar that they hang out at. And basically Shang-Chi just watches as he like kills them all, right?
Right.
And he like tells them like, blood debt has to be paid in blood. Now, this is the part I'm kind of blanking on because Shang-Chi, this is another thing we haven't really talked about. He ran away from this place and he's been gone like 10 years. And I don't remember, was the dad trying to get him to kill somebody?
Right. He was supposed to do his first assassination job. And like in the middle of that, he just ran away and disappeared.
And then like a couple years after he disappeared, like the sister, I think, was upset that he wasn't around anymore. And
right,
she
was
ran
waiting
away
for him the whole time.
Yeah, and so she eventually got tired of the dad or whatever, and she escaped. She ran away.
6 years later, yeah.
And she went and started her Fight Club empire. Okay, so yeah, now they got the head start to Talos. So they're like in the car by the forest. And I think that maybe they have some sort of like funny banter here. I don't really remember. Oh yeah, the Ben Kingsley's just talking about how he saw Planet of the Apes or whatever. And
yeah, that was stupid.
yeah, that was really dumb. And that's what made him want to act or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, the forest opens up and Aquafina starts driving through it, and basically she has to make like Ben Kingsley is listening to Morris, and like he's giving the instructions. He's like, in 3 seconds, make a hard right turn, right? And like so she's making all these like fancy like drift moves and like cutting through the forest or whatever. And it's a close call as the forest starts closing up behind them, but they make it. And then they like go through this like magical waterfall, which like transports them the rest of the way
a tunnel
to another
/
dimension, yeah.
something. Yeah.
dimensional gateway.
This place they go to kind of reminded me of that like bullshit place that King Kong went in that Kong versus Godzilla movie.
No, like the center of the earth.
Yeah, where does this place exist? You know. But yeah, they go here and there's like all these like fantastical looking creatures, like with multiple tails, and then they see like more like the Morris type creatures,
dragon.
Yeah, weird like dragon goat type things or whatever. And then they basically pull up to the village, and they see all the villagers. And at first, like the villagers want to fight them, but then their aunt comes out and like introduces everybody or whatever. Right?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because they're very like against them coming into the village, and then the aunt is like, it's cool, I know them. And they're,
like, they're family.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe they didn't recognize them or something. I'm not sure.
I don't know. It was just it just felt a little bit weird.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember her name, Michelle Yao. I've seen her in other stuff like Star Trek Discovery. And
Yeah,
stuff.
she looked familiar. I couldn't place where.
She's been in a lot of stuff over the years. Wow. I mean, eventually they'll start training. I mean, basically,
they get that new armor too.
Right.
Yeah,
They get some armor.
I think basically they just warn them that hey, the dad's coming and we need to prepare.
Yeah.
Right.
So the aunt teaches him some kung fu. There's an old guy that teaches the girl some archery.
Yeah, and they have dragon scale, which they use in both of their weapons and their armor, and like it has some sort of special property, right? Like
Yeah,
it
it's like super strong.
explodes and stuff.
It has special properties anyway. Magic.
Yeah, apparently the the aunt teaches him to fight with his hands open instead of in fist or something, and that somehow.
Yeah, it's like it all makes sense now.
Yeah, he's like
Slap him silly.
bitch, slap him instead of punching him. God, it's genius.
That's gonna teach him. That's gonna put him in a mindset.
It's gonna emasculate him, and that's gonna be the key to getting those rings.
So she tells him about the story of the Dweller in Darkness. And this creature, apparently, so she hears about his father hearing their mother's voice. And she asks him, like, oh, okay, does he have the 10 rings? And he says yes. And she's like, okay, well, there's this creature that is behind this wall over here that we protect, or keep shut and locked away. And it has a way of, like, getting into the minds of powerful people and, like, trying to free itself. And that's what it was doing with their father. And she explains, like, it one time before had attacked their dimension, and it wreaked havoc on all their cities and decimated them. And they fought back, but they couldn't until the great protector dragon helped them. And then they fought it back and sealed it up.
Do they mention at that point that the protector was a dragon?
No, they just say great protector.
Said it, but I kind of thought it was.
They say it's a great protector,
Okay.
but I already assumed it was a dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I watched the trailers to the movies, and I think they kind of spoiled that. I think there's a point where it shows them in the water with the dragon.
Oh,
but,
right, yeah, he does that.
so this old woman, drops a bunch of arrows, and like Aquafina like picks him up to help her, and then like brings him to the range, and she's like, "You shoot arrow or whatever," and so she's like, "Okay," and then like they do this like little training montage, and like magically Aquafina is just like a great shot, in no time at all she becomes like a Hawkeye or something. Let's see, is there anything else notable before like the attack commences?
Well, she trains him in the ways of their tribe's martial arts, so he learns that new style from her.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So so then the dad and his army show up. They start getting into a fight. Now I will say, I much preferred like the hand-to-hand fights earlier in the movie than like the fights that were going on in this sequence, I think. But it was okay. They all start fighting, and basically the dad splits off. And at one point, the sisters like go after him. So he goes after them, and I think she starts fighting with Razor Fist or something. The dad at first is just in like this shrine they have to their mother that died, and like him and Shang have a conversation. Like you can still tell that they like love each other, but like he's trying to get his dad not to do this, and the dad's just like determined that the mother's on the other side of the gate. So yeah, they start fighting, and God, I don't even remember how this fight really went, except for it did have that kind of weird moment that parodied like the fight he had with the mother at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, except like his father straight up tries to kill him. Like he launched him into that water pretty hard.
Right. It ends with him getting his ass kicked, and he like lands in the water.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, he's in the water. The dad uses the rings to go over to the gate, and he like starts punching the gate, and it starts to weaken. And as it starts to weaken, these like tiny kind of dragon creatures come out.
They're like little demon bat
like
things.
Tentacle armed.
Yeah.
Cthulhu, little mini Cthulhus.
Yeah, and we find out they basically have the power to like suck people's souls out and kill them. Mm-hmm. And then what they're doing is they take those souls that they collect back to the gate, back to the great darkness or whatever creature that's behind it. And if it gets enough souls, then it can break out of the cage. Right. And so one of these things comes toward... Well, first, I think the sister's like telling the Razor Fist and those guys, like, we should work together, to this threat. And he's like, no, bullshit. And then one of those things comes for him, and he's like using his Razor Fist to try to kill it, but it just keeps, he splits it apart, but then it just like congeals back together. But then we find out that the dragon scale weapons that they have are the one things that can kill these things. And so then Razor Fist is like, okay, yeah, we need to work together. And so, yeah, they start fighting all of these creatures, and then they go finally back down to the water. Like Shang-Chi's been in the water a while, but I guess it's like mystical water. And it
like
kind of
bubbles are like
you can kind of see it like bubbling to his nose and like oxygenating him so he keeps alive. And then he basically, this dragon that's their great protector shows up, and then the next thing we know, like he's riding it like Never-Ending Story style.
Right, I did get Never-Ending Story vibes a few times.
He rides it out of there, and like it takes a big chunk out of the little soul sucker things. But then he basically, gets dropped off
to fight the dad.
So they start fighting, and I think while that's going on, I forget kind of the series of events, because eventually the sister sees the dragon, and she finds out like she kind of has that connection too, where she can ride it, and so I think she starts riding it, and at the same time, Shang-Chi and the dad, they're fighting. At some point, like Shang-Chi gets control of some of the rings, and they turn a different color. They turn orange instead of blue or whatever. And God, what happens? He like, I don't know if he wins the fight and then the dark creature comes out, or...
No, I think he was winning, but then he stops. He tries to talk to his father, like, she's dead, like, she's not coming back. There's something else, And his father...
Right, it comes out before the fight's over.
Yeah.
And then the great dragon, the darkness, whatever, grabs the dad. That's when the dad transfers the other 5 rings to him. Mm-hmm. No, he does have all 10.
He had all 10 because he took him back. Because Shang-Chi dropped him.
Oh, that's right. He dropped him and he took him back.
Yeah.
And then he gave him back again.
Yeah.
When he was dying.
Yeah, you're like, oh, yep.
Yeah, so like the big dark creature like totally like sucks out his soul and kills him. And then it basically, I think the creature's about to kill Shang, but then the sister shows up on the dragon, and they both end up riding the dragon. And then it's kind of a fight between their dragon and the dark dragon.
Right.
I don't remember exactly how this went, because like I think at the start, their dragon kind of gets an upper hand on it, but then
it goes back and forth a little bit.
It keeps getting souls though, like the people who are dying. It keeps
so it's getting
souls.
stronger.
Yeah, so it eventually gets to the point where it starts sucking the soul out of the protector dragon.
Right, and if it gets that, then it'll be unstoppable.
Yeah. So Aquafina is like they're both like preoccupied, Shang Chi and his sister. So Aquafina is like, I gotta try to shoot this.
Yeah, you can see like the soul coming up out of the dragon, out of his throat or whatever.
Yeah, and I think the old guy that was like the bowmaster, like he basically tells her like you got to shoot it in the neck, but then he's instantly killed by one of the soul suckers.
Right, so she has to take the shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, she takes the shot and of course hits it perfectly, and then doesn't Shang do something and like splits the dark dragon?
Maybe he has a finale. I don't remember.
At the end, he does something.
What does he do?
Remember, he uses the rings. He like shoves them into the creature at first, and then he like pulls the rings up.
Oh, okay.
It like explodes or something.
Yeah, I couldn't quite remember, but anyway, between the two of them, they blow it the fuck up, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it cuts instantly, but eventually it cuts back to them having dinner with their high school friend again. And they're basically telling this story exactly as it happens. But she's basically just thinking like they're like fucking with her, making this elaborate story up to put her in her place or whatever. But then one of the Doctor Strange portals appears, and it's Wong, and he's like, Shang, you need to come with me. And for some reason, Aquafina too, she'll be important.
She just feels like she would be killed.
Yeah. Bring his sister. That's what I would bring, right? Like
the sister's a better fighter.
Yeah.
But she wasn't there.
She wasn't drinking at that restaurant, at that bar.
It'd be funny. It's like, you know what, your high school friend too. You come on too. He's like, we always need a Hawkeye, and this one we got. He's on his way.
Yeah.
So yeah, they go back there. Now this I don't remember because there's like a mid-credit sequence, and I don't remember like where the main movie ends and the mid-credit sequence picks up. Do you guys remember?
I don't know.
Yeah, basically, like when they're in that bar and they tell that story, right? Wong shows up, and then he explains like these rings are sending off a signal, and Captain Marvel's there, and so is Bruce Banner.
But they showed up in the mid-credit sequence, didn't they, or no? Or was it? Or were they at the?
It was in the credits.
That was
I
the
think,
credits,
wasn't it? Or was it just before the end? It doesn't matter.
There's 2 credit scenes, I think.
Yeah, I just didn't remember like how the main movie ended before they got to the mid-credit sequence because it kind of picks up in the same exact spot.
Yeah, you're right.
It doesn't matter.
Anyway, yeah, like you were saying, like, yeah, the rings are giving off some sort of signal. Oh, by the way, like, there's a popular dragon in Marvel Comics called Fin Fang Foom. Do you think that was their dragon? I wasn't sure.
I don't know what
they don't actually reference that name, so I didn't know if that was like a Marvel deep
All
cut.
dragons look the same to you.
Yeah, and I think Bruce Banner mentions that like it's not vibranium and it's not this, and they don't exactly know what the rings are.
Yeah, and Captain Marvel's like, I've been all over the place and I don't know what it is. And Bruce Banner says it's much older than 1,000 years because he asks him how long his father had it, and he says 1,000 years. And then Bruce Banner's like, oh, it's much older than that.
By the way, what's going on with the Hulk's continuity? Because wasn't in like Endgame, didn't he just like become the Hulk and like he could talk as Bruce Banner, like he was Smart Hulk basically? Right,
he become like a composite, like he could have the best of both worlds. But he wasn't quite as big as the real Hulk.
The talk is that he's going to come back for She-Hulk in that series a little bit, and then he might actually have a future as like World Breaker Hulk. So they maybe try to put him in that form so that he can go back to like Raging Hulk.
So can he basically, in continuity right now, he can like change to Hulk and back like anytime he wants?
I don't know in the MCU, but I would think
I think
so.
it's just showed him as like the middle, hasn't it? Or
Well, I didn't know because like I thought it wasn't the last time we saw him before this appearance was like Endgame,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I didn't know that he could just like change back to his normal self. I guess.
Well, in Endgame, he's like best of both worlds, right? He's like that way permanently.
Yeah.
And then he must have done something after that to where he could like go back to separating them or something.
I guess that's what I missed. Or also, was his arm in a sling?
Yeah,
Where was that from?
that's from Endgame when he snapped.
Oh, okay. I guess I lose track of time with these movies, and I'm like, I don't know like how much time has passed. It's kind of hard to keep track of that aspect of it. But okay, so yeah, and and then like they end there where like Wong's like, you should get some rest. There's some big things coming. And he's like, oh, we could do that. And so then it cuts to them partying up, singing karaoke, singing Hotel California, which was something they referenced earlier on in the movie, which wasn't a great joke, but they came back to it. So yeah, then we waited all the way through the credits. By the way, I'll say this, Marvel is famous for this now, but like I don't mind mid-credit sequences. I do kind of hate end credit sequences. Like I do appreciate all the people that put hard work in the movie, but I don't want to sit through them all. But I do for whatever stinger. But this one, basically, we get to the end, and it just kind of shows the sister. She's basically kind of recreating the Ten Rings organization out of her Fight Club. It looks like,
but with graffiti and girls.
Yeah, with
girls mostly.
Oh yeah,
half of them. I think.
Because she was mad because it was like such a sexist organization and women couldn't fight and stuff like that.
That's the problem with criminal organizations. They are kind of sexist. I'm dumb. Sorry.
There's got to be like a female mafia somewhere, doesn't there?
I don't know. I'm gonna look into that though.
Hey, am I making this up? Or like in the 90s, wasn't there like a female motorcycle gang called Dykes on Bikes?
I mean, probably.
I want to say I'm not making that up.
Probably.
It's like this is fan fiction you wrote a long time ago and you just like don't even remember
Just
it.
Lucy Lawless and Gabrielle.
Now, with that end credit sequence, do you think they're making the sister somewhat villainous?
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. She didn't seem villainous to me at that point.
She's one of those people I think they could kind of play either way.
Yeah.
Or, kind of in the middle. But that sequence kind of made me think that, they're setting her up as to be kind of maybe quasi-villainous, but I wasn't sure. All right, guys, before we give our final scores, is there anything else you can think of that you maybe want to touch on?
Well, I made it through without shitting my pants, but
Getting close.
like it's important.
You're on the edge.
I gotta say, like for me, like the father was a very, I thought, good character to follow in that movie. He was kind of like this, almost a main character with Shang-Chi.
Yeah, he was very split on his like good and evil standpoint. So
Yeah, I like the actor. He was good.
I was wondering, like, if I've ever seen him in other stuff. I'm not sure, but he got a big role in this movie anyway. I bet a lot of these people are like super famous, like
China,
overseas,
yeah.
and we just don't know them.
Yeah.
Like I knew Aquafina and I knew Michelle Yao, but I don't think I really knew any of the other actors.
I kind of thought it would be cool if they had given Jackie Chan a scene in this movie, man. Like if he was the old guy who like helped her with the arrows or something. Like
I could definitely see them roping him in future installments.
yeah, because I mean, all his influence, he was like he opened the doorway. Him and Bruce Lee and all those guys. Like, but yeah, like he's huge. He kind of is owed a part to say, like in a way, in one of these movies.
I actually saw like the other day someone on Twitter had like a kind of a long GIF that showed a clip of like a Michelle Yao movie, like from when she was like younger, martial arts movie, and like I forget what it was called, but like it was actually a really cool like action scene. Like she was kicking ass and it looked really good. I was like, damn, might have to find that movie.
So she actually knows her stuff, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seemed like it anyway. All right. What would you guys give Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings out of 10?
I liked it. I think it can still be better, though. So I give it a 7 out of 10, a solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah, probably between 7 and 8.
I'm exactly the same. I'm going to give it 7 rings out of 10 rings. Yeah, totally solid. Maybe not like out of the park, but yeah, very, very pleasant watch. A very solid entry in the MCU, I believe. All right. Well, these are always long shows when we do these reviews, but they're fun to talk about movies and stuff. At least we got the Mad Pooper in. That was that was a good one. All right, guys. Well, we do appreciate you listening to all of our shenanigans and poppycock. If you will, please give us a review. Subscribe, and actually not a ton of subscribers, but in the last couple of weeks I have seen a couple new YouTube subscribers, and I really do appreciate that. Spread the good word. So yeah, positive reviews, all that, thumbs up, likes, subscribes, comments, and why not? Now this is one area where I haven't seen improvement. You guys need to follow us on Twitter. Guys, where can people find you on Twitter?
I am a name for this 2, and that's number 2. And I'm sorry, at a name for this 2, number 2.
At unsolicited SU.
Did I have to say that? Yeah, I don't know.
I always do. So you can find me at Zach Jones Live. That's ZachJonesLive. And finally, that is going to do it for all of our shenanigans and poppycock this week. Please, please, please tune in again next week. Bye, guys.
Have a
Take
good one.
care.